All right, man, peace. So, brothers, I remember when Doug Flutie, the extremely talented one-time Heisman Trophy winner for Boston College, entered into the NFL in the mid to late 90s. He was very successful in the CFL, but he was never given a real chance at quarterback in the NFL because he was undersized. He came into the NFL around 1997-98, somewhere around there, and he made a big splash. He and the other quarterback, Rob Johnson, eventually got into a major quarterback controversy, a major clash because Rob Johnson was your conventional quarterback, about 6'3", 6'4", 220 pounds. He was expected to be the player who took over for Jim Kelly and led the Buffalo Bills into the 2000s. Well, his career flamed out, partially because he got into a quarterback competition with Doug Flutie, who was clearly more talented than him. But at the end of the day, even though Doug Flutie was more talented than him, what he did was not built to last. Doug Flutie was more of a novelty act than anything else. No matter how physically gifted he was only about 5'8". And that brings us to the modern day Doug Flutie, Mr. Kyler Murray, who's also a preternaturally gifted athlete. Will he be able to show in the NFL that he's a good enough quarterback that he can get big money after his rookie contract is up? Remember, the rookie contract goes, 3-4 years? Is he going to be that impactful over the course of 3 or 4 years to show that he deserves the big bucks in the NFL? Or should he take advantage of the baseball gifts that he allegedly has and try to make even bigger money in Major League Baseball? Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Is he a first-round pick?
Yes, he's a first-round pick. Look, the only knock against Kyler Murray is he's short.
That's a major knock, though, dude. That's a major knock. That's like somebody alleging to be a great chef, and the only knock against him is that he does not know how to put food in the oven properly. He can fry great, he can roast great, but he's not good with baking. He's not good in the oven. That's a major, major flaw.
Okay, so therefore he won't be the number one overall pick, I don't think. Otherwise, like if he was 3-4 inches taller, he might be the number one overall pick.
Right, but you know what? It'd be one thing if he was 5'11", 6 feet, like a Baker Mayfield or a Drew Brees or a Russell Wilson, who's probably more like 5'10". But Russell Wilson has huge hands, has great heart, wonderful vision, great accuracy. Many people might say the same thing about Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray's about 5'6". I mean, you're stretching it there. Kyler Murray's about 5'6", maybe 5'7".
He's shorter than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield went first overall. Were there more questions about Kyler Murray's game or Lamar Jackson's game? Because Lamar Jackson went in the first round. Josh Allen went in the first round.
Right, but Lamar Jackson's also about 6'2", almost 6'3". An unbelievably gifted athlete. Lamar Jackson ran like a 4'4". So we know what he needs to work on. He needs to work on his accuracy. He needs to work on his understanding of passing routes and how to connect with his receivers. And that might never come, because I thought he looked atrocious against the Chargers. But at least I believe he has a higher ceiling than Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray might be an impeccable quarterback, but at 5'6", he's just going to be severely limited. Severely limited.
Now, Josh Allen's a big, strong guy with an arm, but he's less proven than Kyler Murray. And Lamar Jackson, there were more question marks than Kyler Murray. Johnny Manziel went in the first round. Johnny Manziel didn't fail because of his height. He failed because of a million other reasons that you don't have to worry about with...
Not quite, sir. Johnny Manziel also failed because of his height, or his lack thereof. He failed because of his lack of stature. That was one of the main reasons why he failed. Of course, he had other off-the-field problems, but let's not bring up Johnny Manziel if you're trying to espouse the belief that Kyler Murray should enter into the NFL draft.
Out with Kyler Murray. So, does the height matter? Yes, it does. You are more likely to be better if you are taller. It helps you. So I don't think he'll be the number one overall pick, but he's going in the first. If you could play quarterback, you're being taken in the first round.
Well, there'll be a team that will be willing to try him out. When I say try him out, meaning use a draft pick on him, especially if you're in the middle of the pack and you're not going to expect to have many expectations for your team. They'll try him out. I just don't see it with him. I saw him in one of the bowl games against Alabama. He looked like a very good novelty act in college.
Nope, he's not a first rounder, because I'm not talking about his talent. I'm talking about whether or not he wants to play the sport. You can declare for the...
Right, but Steve, I mean, come on. I'm not quite sure if that's the parameter that we want to use to determine whether or not he's going to go in the first round.
for the NFL draft, you can decide that I want to go to Major League Baseball because the Oakland A's are going to throw a boatload of money in my direction and I'm going to go that route. That's the only reason. My trepidation about him being a first-round pick has absolutely zero to do with his talent. Talent-wise, he is big time. I think he could do some things. Now, I don't want to hear about him being 5'10". He looked like 5'8", okay?
If that.
He's tiny. He's a tiny dude. Him throwing in the pocket, that's a problem. I'm never taking him with the number 1 overall pick. His speed is electrifying. He's going to do major damage with those wheels on him. But if somehow, some way you manage, and I got to believe that the brilliancy that exists in the NFL, because these people live, eat, and breathe football, they'll find a way to, at least at times, contain him in the pocket. Him seeing over those oncoming defensive linemen and beyond, I got a problem with imagining that. I think about Patrick Mahomes, who could have played baseball if he wanted to. Patrick Mahomes is 6'3". Legitimate 6'3". This dude right here, some people have said, I don't know because I've never stood next to him, but some people have said they lying when they call him 5'10".
Well, so Baker Mayfield, I don't mean to cut you off. Baker Mayfield tweeted a picture of them together when he won the Heisman.
Right.
And Baker Mayfield looks like a monster next to Kyler Murray.
And that's a problem. And that's a problem for me. So I wouldn't take him with the number 1 overall pick. But the first round, think about what they say about the quarterback position, about the obligations that come with it. Deion Sanders alluded to it in terms of the obligations, the leadership role that you have to play, et cetera, et cetera. When the way the NFL has acted throughout the years, a first-round pick is so pivotal, it's so vital
Doug
Flutie did not ball. Doug Flutie played well for a very short period of time. When I think about a baller, I think about Aaron Rodgers, I think about Tom Brady, I think about Drew Brees. That's a baller to me. A baller is not somebody who has a nice year and a half.
If you take a chance and you just give it up for a player that you don't know is going to even play it or not, that's a problem. And I would be hesitant to take that chance.
Before you get on where he should be in terms of first round pick, I want to ask you a question as a former player. Say you love both equally, and now that you've retired and had your career, and you love baseball, you love football equally. Baseball is guaranteed money. Would you advise him to play?
Well, in football, he'll be a quarterback. So for the most part, if he shows that he can ball in football, he's going to get guaranteed money in the NFL as well.
Play the sport with guaranteed money.
If I played quarterback, I would play football. If I played quarterback, if I played any other position and I was equally ranked in both, I'd play baseball.
Because of money or health with the quarterback?
Because of money. Right, because if he's drafted in the middle of the first round, he'll get $15 to $18 million guaranteed.
But MLB said they would match that, the $15 million.
And listen, and that to me changes the way he has to look at it. But when you look at a guy like Kyler Murray, you don't get your money in the MLB until maybe year 6, year 7, after arbitration, after playing in the minor leagues and going through these different things. In football, you're going to get your money right away. And if you're good at being quarterback, you're going to get over $100 million 4 years after that.
Absolutely, Ryan Clark, but that's a big if. If he were to declare for the Major League Baseball draft, I promise you, they're going to invest in his success far more than they would in the NFL. In the NFL, if he were to get $15 million guaranteed as a signing bonus coming into the draft, that's about all that they're going to promise him. In Major League Baseball, if they're willing to invest that much money in you, they want to see that flower sprout. They want to see a return on their investment. So they're going to give you many chances to do well in Major League Baseball, many more chances than he would get in the NFL. Because let's be for real, if he comes out next year, let's say he gets drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, he plays terribly, you guys are going to be on TV every day talking about how big of a bust he is. By his second year, if he still has not shown any improvement, you guys are going to say, the general manager for the Arizona Cardinals should be fired because he wasted a first-round draft pick on Kyler Murray when he should have drafted so-and-so. So Kyler Murray's career could be done after 2 or 3 years. So it depends on how much he believes in himself.
And so the immediate money in football is actually more guaranteed at this position, right? And Alex Bregman is somebody I know personally. He was the second overall pick of the draft, and now he's balling. He ascended very quickly. That's not the same for everybody. And so Kyler Murray also is from a town in Texas where he played in front of over 10,000 people. If you ever see his high school stadium, it looks like a college stadium. So to me, it tells me he loves football more than he loves baseball. This is why he's making this decision. And I believe that if you draft him first, it's going to come with the conversation of saying, okay, Kyler,
yeah,
how much
first-round pick?
I think he is a first-round pick. He is a first-round pick. And for many of the reasons.
Well, he's a first-round pick if for no other reason than, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He showed a superlative amount of natural ability in college. So once again, if you're a team that feels like you don't have high expectations for your team over the course of the next couple of years, then yes, you can you can throw your name into the hat for the Kyler Murray experience. If for no other reason, you're going to have a lot of fans coming to your stadium to want to watch him play, at least for the first couple of years. But if you're Kyler Murray, you have to ask yourself, exactly how feasible are my chances in the NFL as opposed to Major League Baseball? Because I promise you, they're going to pull the plug on him much sooner in the NFL than they would in Major League Baseball.
That both of these guys stated, like, the only thing you can do is where do you value him in the first round? And what's going to happen is these GMs are going to value him on where they place their job security, right?
Absolutely.
Right? A guy who is secure in his job knows that he can miss on Kyler Murray because of all the things he can do. But if you're not, the owner's going to ask you, so what made you pick this 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", however tall he is, quarterback, right? Why did you think he was going to work? A guy that's secure in his job is going to watch this film and see the numbers and say, well, he was responsible for more touchdowns than Baker Mayfield. His QBR was higher than Baker Mayfield.
Right, but what the owner's going to say is, that's college. This is the NFL. Especially if Kyler Murray is not showing much promise after one season. I mean, look, like they say, no guts, no glory. So if you want a major payout, you have to make a major investment. I get that. I'm just not quite sure if the major investment that you want to make is in a 5'7" quarterback.
In the same offense.
Accurate passer.
Yeah, and so they're going to see some different things. Like, they're going to see some different things, and then that says, okay, I want him in the first round, but where do I want him?
No.
I think he's a first-round talent. There's no question about it. But again, because of what they say about the quarterback position and what it requires.
No, you got to be 100%.
He's got. If
my argument goes out the window, Max.
My argument goes out the window, Max. If he says, I'm all in, there is no baseball.
You have to be.
I'm here to be a quarterback in the National Football League. And that's different.
Here's the other.
Well, actually, if he's smart, he'll start a bidding war. Because if he's smart, he's getting good advice. And if he's getting good advice, his advisor should be telling him, Kyler, this is the history of 5'7" quarterbacks in the NFL. And it won't even be one page long. It might be a couple of sentences long. Kyler, I know that you love football. You might believe that you can accomplish great things in the NFL. But if you do believe that, then we're going to have to be all in. We're going to have to try to maximize your earning potential. We'll start a bidding war. And whoever wins the bidding war, then you can come to a determination on what you want to do from there. Because there's no real pressure on him right now. Right now, the pressure is on the competing leagues. Whoever is willing to guarantee him more money is where he'll go to.
Other thing.
Or where he should go to.
Thing about making this decision. If you're the Oakland A's, you give him a major league contract right now.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason for, even though it's much less guaranteed you're going to succeed in baseball, it's a mechanical sport.
Mm-hmm.
The best athletes don't always pan out. It's got to see how they develop. This is the reason. Billy Beane, who's led the analytics revolution in baseball, basically.
Moneyball.
Used the 9th overall pick in the draft to get him. Now, that means, knowing that he might choose football, that means that the analytics of the A's, which have cutting-edge proprietary stuff, right?
True.
Think that his upside is monstrous in baseball. That's the only reason they take that gamble. Now that they've taken that gamble, you believe in your scouting, that had you take that gamble, now you got to eat.
I have a question for both of you.
I agree with that as well. Great comment.
And I don't know the answer, so it's a legitimate, sincere question. Is he considered as talented in baseball as he is in football?
What I'm saying is this. The A's
think
must believe so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or they would never risk such a high draft pick just getting nothing for it, not even playing baseball, on this dude if their research, if their scouting, if their analytics department didn't tell Billy Beane, this dude is like the next Mike Trout.
Right.
Or else they don't do it.
Because you always knew this was a possibility in taking him. You always knew that he might go play football. So to me, it says that the A's believe in him, and they're going to come to him with that contract. And I believe what he decides shows whether or not he's all in on football.
But isn't it possible?
It also will show how good an advisor he has. Once again, If you have a good advisor and they know that you have an exorbitant amount of talent in more than one sport, you want to optimize your options. Always optimize your options. Never let one side know that you favor that side. He might already know what he's going to do. I'm sure that he does. I'm pretty sure that he does. Unless he gets blown away by a counter offer, I'm pretty sure that he knows what he's going to do right now. I believe that Kyler Murray believes that he's going to go to the NFL, and if things don't pan out, he can always go to Major League Baseball.
Possible that they could have taken that chance because they believe that even if he does play football, they could convince him to play some baseball?
No, brother, like I just stated, I believe that Billy Beane and the Oakland A's believe that Kyler Murray and his management team are going to give Kyler Murray a certain amount of time to become a success in the NFL. And if things don't pan out or start to show the potential to pan out within about a 2 or 3 year stretch, they're going to go into baseball anyway.
That possible? But even if he did, think about Deion Sanders, who was a very talented baseball player. I used to he came up with the Yankees. He was the fastest guy I'd ever seen on a baseball field, and then was a good leadoff hitter in Atlanta.
Yeah,
could hit, steal bases.
Deion was a very serviceable Major League Baseball player.
Everything. He never gave you a full season. Right. He's off playing football, and he wasn't a quarterback.
Well, then that answers my question.
That answers your question. It also refutes what Max Kellerman is trying to assert, which is that Kyler Murray should consider playing both sports. No, he should not. There's no way in the world that an NFL team is going to tolerate a 5'7" quarterback splitting his season between his Major League Baseball team and his NFL team. That's going to bring way too much of a distraction, especially for a quarterback who's probably going to have to spend a lot of time developing his tactics on an NFL football field.
And they believe that it's not a matter. They believe they have a shot to get
some
him
partial value.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it's possible.
You can't
At least my point.
No NFL team is going to be okay with having a part-time.
Thank you, sir.
With baseball, the question is with the NFL team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That's
If he was 3 inches taller, he'd be the no-brainer first overall pick.
Yes,
Yeah, that's true.
I think a lot of teams are going to be scared of the height. Still to come.
As usual, somebody making an irrelevant point about a hypothetical. If he was 3 inches taller, he'd be a no-brainer. That's kind of a no-brain point. We have to deal with reality. The whole reason why we're having this conversation, let's be for real, is because Kyler Murray is 5'7". If he was 6'1", it would not even be a question that he would be heading into the NFL, because he would know that that is where he's going to get his glamour. That's where he's going to get his immediate glory. But anyway, we'll see what Kyler Murray decides to do. Peace.